and they handed us these 2 boxes that had the United States flag in it and the Tennessee flag in it. So this week, finally, I have wanted a flagpole out in the front for a long, long time. So Don, he fixed one, and you can actually raise the flags up. And with the breeze blowing them, when I come in on Thursday of last week, he called me. He said, "You okay?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, where are you?" And I told him, and he said, "Well, where are those flags that Marlon and Mike gave us?" And I said, "Okay, they're in the bedroom where we were sleeping until we could go back upstairs in the top drawer." And that was what, about 12:30, and so I didn't get home till like 4. And I was just coming up our drive, and he had the pole up, had the flags on there, and I just started tearing up, and I just stopped there and I looked at it, and so I finally got my flagpole. I don't know if it took the flags from Mike and Mama or not, but now I've got to have me a Christian flag to go with it. It's room to have the Christian flag.
I think Mike told us that those flags had flown over the Capitol.
Yeah, he did. He said that they had flown over the Capitol in Nashville.
That's fantastic.
I just had to add that to it.
Well, that is awesome.
It is.
65 years of marriage, that's almost unheard of these days. That's fantastic.
Of course, we married so young. If we married older like most people do, we might not have that many in there.
Well, that's you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
You just never know.
That's right.
Well, that's fantastic. That's awesome. Always good to hear a good story.
And about the motel burning down.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "William, where did you get all this information?" He said, "Well, I won't tell." And he said, every time I see him, he said, "Have you found out yet?" I said, "No, please tell me." And he said, "I'm not telling you. About a motel."
I don't know where he got all that information.
We don't know.
Oh, there ain't no telling.
He didn't get it from us.
They did it for you all.
No, he didn't.
Y'all must have had a pretty hot honeymoon there. Set the cabin on fire.
I told him I thought it was lightning hit.
That's pretty good.
He goes to church with us, William does. And Mike and Mila go over to Church of Christ, but they're good friends. We know just as many people over there at Portland Church. We know as many people probably at every church in Portland as we do at church.
We used to go to church at 8:30, then we go to Sunday school, and then we get out in time to visit around. And I know a couple times we went up to Mennonite Church in Front, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And the first time we went in, we got there a little late because we had to drive up there. Then we went sat down on the left-hand side. Now look, now it's on the mail over there. So the lady sat on the left side and the men on the. So the second time I went to the right-hand side.
Well, we went in on the left-hand side because I had to put my purse down and Bible down and everything to get ready. And then when I got everything fixed and looked, I thought, there's just women over here. And I pushed him, he said, "I know." But he wouldn't get up and go over where all the men were.
Yeah.
So the next time we went, we knew where to go. Be on the side with men. And then they was having foot washing. And, but I don't think they did. I think they were going to, but for some reason they didn't. I never have had my feet washed, but I wouldn't mind it. I think it's fine.
The Bible speaks of it.
I know it does.
This Steve Hollerith guy,
Do you know him?
I think,
He worked at
I
Donnelly.
think,
He worked for Donnelly's.
And he worked for Costco too before.
now is his daughter Brett's?
Yeah.
Brett's?
Yeah.
Let's see, Brett Stowe, I worked with him at the fire department. I
Well,
just retired from
Okay.
Hendersonville Fire.
Yeah. Brett still.
Yeah, I just retired, it was been a year.
Yeah.
And
I was the fire marshal down there.
Oldest
Oldest
granddaughter.
granddaughter.
And he's a
Yeah.
fine
Yeah.
guy. He is.
Oh, he is, he's first class, you won't be
Yes.
him. I just retired, been a year ago, retired as fire marshal, been there 33
Okay. So that's the
years.
reason you knew Gary out on Driver's Lane, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this hollering guy, I remember when he passed away, I was thinking, did he go to Ball State when first
Yes,
opened?
he did.
That's how
The first 2
Donna,
years.
they met there.
Yeah, the first year, and then the second year is when he and Donna went, and then did they go the first year? And they met, but they both played on the first girls basketball and guys basketball team that Ball State
Yep.
had. I don't even know if they still have them.
Oh, yeah, they do. So I was out there in '71, and when he passed away, I knew the name sounded familiar. And then another one of our guys that's down there at the fire department, Kenny Armstrong, which is now the deputy chief.
Okay.
He kept telling me, about him passing away, and I'm like, man, the name sounds familiar, but I can't place him. And so then I saw his picture, well, then I knew exactly who he was.
Yeah.
Really, really good athlete. Excellent basketball player.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah,
good basketball. He was a
good.
good person.
Oh,
I know we used to do some trips with him, and we'd get discussing the Bible, and we couldn't answer it, but he wouldn't say a word, but we'll ask him, Donna would ask him, then he'd tell us the answer.
Yeah,
He'd be driving, and we'd be talking about something and trying to figure it out. And then finally Donna would just techno, okay, Pop, tell us what it is. And he'd grin, he'd tell us right what we was needing to know.
Well, our first church before we moved out to the new church on Maple Street was right down here on Cemetery Street. And it was just it was kind of like the basement of a house that somebody started and then never did finish. And it was they just put a roof over, just put floor joist on there and covered it over with tar paper or something, and asphalted it or did something, and you kind of, it was just kind of like the basement of a house. And that's where our church started. And when we first moved here and we went there was only like, I don't know, 10, 15 people, that was it. And then it got up to 27 people, and we just continually grew and grew, and then we started building the other church over there on Maple Street, which is a pretty good sized church. But that's where it first started, was right over here on Cemetery Street, just right across from the cemetery.
Are you familiar with Larry Wanda Collins in Portland?
I've heard the name, but I don't know them.
He's kindly there. He is. Of course, he has bulldozer and heavy equipment and things, and of course, he and Fred White helped to get Portland with all these factories and things going the way it is. But I tell friends, because they're good friends of ours, I said that was a time when we had more than they did, and we didn't have nothing. We didn't have anything, but I think we had more than they did, but we love them, they're sweet. And Ronnie McDowell, are you familiar with him?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
He and our son graduated together and played football together. We've got a lot of his paintings and autograph, and he did one of when we had the Strawberry Festival, every year, and this past one, he did a picture of the float, and it's called On Saturday in May.
Yeah.
And it has his mother right here, Wanda Collins right here, and I'm in the center.
Fantastic.
And it's a story with that, little Joan Gore that is kind of does
Little lady.
Yeah. And she called one day and she said, Joan, have you got a picture of when you was a teenager? And I said, I've got one. I said, it was in a drawer, and I just brought it out. It's an 8x10, and it's one I had made to put in the paper when we got married, and that's the only one I've got. Other than, it's one in here, I'll show you now. And she said, well, could I get it? And I said, well, what do you want it for? And she said, I can't tell you. And I said, well, okay, I'll bring it. And she said, I'll be up there, I think she said Thursday. If you get up, and I said, well, it'll be here whenever you come back. Well, then she called again. She said, no, she had said on Friday. She said, Joan, I can't make it. I have a doctor appointment. She had cancer breast surgery and was taking treatments. So then Ronnie called, and he said, Miss Joanne, are you going to be home for a while? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, can I come out and get that picture? And I said, the one Joanne was wanting? He said, yeah. Of course, it was for him all the time to use, So he come out, and I happened to be coming in the den as he was coming up the back into the sun porch. And so I said, come in here, boy. And so he gave me a hug.